Hey everyone, welcome to Art of Rally. This is a bit of a different review because I don't tend to review arcade-style racing games, but since this is an interesting looking rally game, and it does have a few surprises, I felt like it was definitely worth a review. This is by Fun Selector, which is a studio that made a game called Unlimited Drift. I believe it's called. I can't remember the name. I didn't play it. But so it was kind of natural for these guys, I guess, to create a rally game. It's a small studio, and it's called Art of Rally because the game is more artsy than it is gamey or simmy. It's not a simulator. It's got more of an arcade approach to it, and there's a reason that art is in the title. I would say that this game, I could sum it up as being an artistic homage to the golden days of rally. So this game has a very artistic look and feel to it. The graphics are obviously very simple, and it's a beautiful game to look at. But we're not talking about Dirt Rally 2.0 here or anything. It takes a completely different approach. The game has an enormous number of cars. Just about all of them are classics, starting back in the late 60s. And it goes up to Group A in the 90s. And it includes Group S, which were the prototypes that were supposed to follow the Group B cars that were banned because of safety reasons. And it also has a few odd balls there, like a Dakar truck, like a tricycle kind of thing, and even a logging truck, just to play around with. But yeah, the amount of cars here is really surprising, and they're fake. Nothing is officially licensed, but you will recognize which each car really is in real life. And not only will you see the ones that you're used to seeing in Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo and the Dirt Rallies, they've basically covered almost every single rally car that had raced in those 30 years between the late 60s and the late 90s. It would also be nice to see them add some more modern rally cars from the 21st century. And as far as the rallies are concerned, there's a good amount of content here. There's only 5 rallies, but each one has 6 stages, and each one is reversed. So that means, in my book, you have 12 unique stages per rally. They vary between 4 and 10 kilometers, maybe, and most of them take between 2 and 4 minutes to complete. So there is a really, really good amount of content here. I was surprised, and the stage quality is very nice. They're really beautiful stages. They try to take, your real world ambiance from each rally and put it into the game. But given the fact that it's so light on graphics and trackside detail, I was a bit surprised that there were only 5 rallies. I think maybe they could have put a few more in there. And since there are no pace notes, I was thinking this is a perfect game, since the tracks are so simple looking, to put in some kind of track generator. I think this would be an ideal title to put a track generator into, and maybe they'll do it. There might be some more rallies coming along the way. The devs are going to see how the game does first. But on the content side, both cars and rallies, it's good. There is a lot to play with here. And you've got also a free roam area on all 5 rallies, which are not related to the rallies themselves. It's an open world area that is not made up of the rally stages. And you go around and find collectibles. And game modes, well, you have career. Career just takes you year by year through all the different classes of cars, and you unlock some other cars, and you unlock some bonus liveries. Career should take you about 15 hours to complete, maybe. When the game came out, the AI difficulty was way too easy. That's been patched, and the AI is much more competitive now. Even on the hard level, it was easy to beat them. Now it's a lot more competitive. They did have to go back on that patch because of some issues at the point of making this review. But they do promise that in the next few days they should have the AI patch back in there. So you have some different difficulty levels that you can select and different car damage levels you can select. The car damage is extremely simple. It's suspension, gearbox, a radiator, engine, and there is a service area every 2 stages. It's pretty hard to wreck the car, but you can get some performance affecting damage. And you have a quick play, and you have a weekly and daily challenge that is ongoing. I mentioned the art approach to the game, and you can see in the graphics that the graphics really are nothing special. And this is a game that is played traditionally from top down. You have different camera angles. Some of them are a little bit lower. Some of them are almost directly on top of the car, but they are all external. And that makes it a little bit difficult sometimes to judge the severity of a curve. But for what the game is aiming at, I think it's perfectly acceptable, and it is enjoyable to throw these cars around the stages. The sounds of the cars are actually very good. They're not on a Dirt Rally Codemasters level, but they are very well done. You can hear the blow off on the turbos and the sounds coming from the gear changes. So that's really well done. But how does it handle? Well, obviously this is an arcade game, quote end quote. However, the handling model is a lot more simulation-like than you would think. You can use a wheel with this game if you want to. You can plug in your wheel and you can assign buttons to it. However, the game engine does not have any force feedback, so I didn't even bother. This is obviously a game that's designed to be played with a controller, so I play this exclusively with a controller. But that said, the handling of the cars is definitely in the sim-like area, somewhere between a sim and an arcade game. Weight transfer comes into play here. Braking and setting up the car for the turn comes into play here. Throttle modulation to hold a slide through the turns, that also comes into play. So if you don't know how to drive a rally car, you're going to have trouble driving this. But if you're coming from any sim games or some of the sim light rally games, you will know what you have to do with the car. This is the first arcade game I think I've ever played where you actually have to deal with understeer. So that kind of gives you an idea that despite all of the arcade ambience there is surrounding this game, the handling model is actually quite detailed, and it's closer to realistic than just your typical arcade top-down racer. Something that is very disappointing is when you jump, the weight of the cars seems like it's way too low, so they really fly through the air, and the suspensions seem way too hard, which makes landing very difficult. This is mostly perceptible in the later cars like Group S and Group A. The older cars don't seem to have a problem, but it is something I wish they could work on. It's probably the most annoying part of the game, because you need to be really careful going over the jumps, and even just slight humps, especially in turns, can really upset the car and cause you to roll very easily. It seems like it uses the same tire compound on every rally, because it doesn't matter whether you're on snow or gravel or asphalt, or whether it's raining. Even though each surface requires you to drive a different way and offers different grip levels, I have to say that the tire compound is basically, you're always on gravel tires. You don't have as much grip on snow as you should, and you don't have as much grip on asphalt as you should. So you're going to be drifting a lot on asphalt, which doesn't surprise me given the background of this developer. The replays are really, really wonderful to look at. They are absolutely beautifully done, even though there are some issues with the cameras getting lost inside the scenery sometimes. And there is a gorgeous photo mode that not only allows you to move the camera all over the place and take a really nice photo, you can actually use the camera to fly over the entire stage. So the stages actually are in a semi-open world. It doesn't allow you to go off the track like it does in the free roam, but just by taking the camera, you can actually helicopter yourself over these environments and see how large they are. So just to sum it up, obviously this is not going to be a long review because there's really not a whole lot to get into, but I think this is a fantastic rally game for anyone who likes car games. Obviously it's not a simulator, but if you are a sim fan, you will be able to appreciate a semi-deep handling model. How can I sum this game up? Well, it's called Art of Rally. I would say it is a very strange, very odd, however, a very workable mix of fantasy and reality. If you like your rally games and you like your car games, pick this up because it's a load of fun. I think the only thing it's missing right now is a few more rallies and online multiplayer live instead of the daily and weekly challenges. So there you go. That's what I think about Art of Rally. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comments section. And as usual, thank you and bye-bye.